All right, everyone. 18-month low vitamin A update. So I'm still doing it. I want to be more consistent with these updates because I'm a bit late. It is the 12th of September. I started it around February. It was mid to late February of 2024. So 1.5 years. Overall, it's been a very stable 6 months. I've been very busy with other things. I've been taking a solid break from health related content and stuff. Like, I'm still, I still tune into like Dr. Garrett Smith's live streams and all that. But I think now that I've had this stability, it's actually been extremely nice not to focus on health too much and to actually focus on things that you often put off when you're struggling, when you're dealing with chronic illness. I think this is very important. A lot of people in this space focus so much on all the stuff that researching, taking the right supplements, eating the right foods, to the point where it can stress you out. So you need to really work on the balance there. And also the other thing that I was doing last year, I don't know if I mentioned in the previous video, I was doing things like introducing niacin and adding things in when I was unstable. I shouldn't have been doing that, but because I was consuming so much content, I was learning so much, I got a bit excited. I wanted to rush the process. I just wanted to be better, which is understandable, but that can be so destructive when you're constantly focused on your disease or whatever you're dealing with and you just want to fix it. I'm that type of person, like that sort of engineer mindset, problem solver. Like, I just want to fix shit, and that doesn't really work when you're dealing with the human body, which is, you're a spiritual being as well. So like, you need to consider that you're not a car to be fixed. You're a human being. You need to allow for the body to heal at the pace it wants to. I really, really recommend just taking a break sometimes, not so that you don't rush the process. Because if I look at the last 6 months, I've hardly added anything in, really. I think the only supplement I've added in was sun fiber, and I'd already been taking that a little bit. So I've really slowed things down. I've kept it steady, and it's really paid off, I think. So before I get into all of that, just wanted to say about like this channel, I'm going to try and upload more. I've just been really busy lately and I want to make more time for it. In addition to these regular updates on this diet, like I want to make video about my supplements I take, all sorts of other topics. If you go to my Instagram page, like I've been using that for a few years, but I think like there's some good posts on there and stuff, but I don't really want to use Instagram anymore that much. Like, I'm still on there. You can still, if you want to message me and stuff, it's probably good for that. But so in addition to taking a break from health information and content and all of that, taking a break from social media, I've never been a fan of social media. I think it serves a purpose, but I've been using it, especially the last few years, for health content and stuff, and there's some great stuff on there, but I just decided at the start of the year, with all the AI and everything, and just the polarization on there, I just decided this is not good for my health, and I just don't want to be a part of it. It's not the kind of world I want to be in. So I'd rather focus more on YouTube. YouTube is always a platform that I've used, and I've learned so much on this platform, and I just prefer that it's more long form content. I think the people on YouTube are probably more receptive to these sort of more complex areas of discussion where there is a lot of nuance and it's not all just black and white, whereas people on Instagram, a lot of people's brains are just not capable. They're just not. I think this whole social media is like social control. I think people have been so dumbed down to the point where they're not going to be able to grasp these sort of topics. And it's not saying like I'm better than them. It's more just like I've got to go for the audience that is going to be receptive, and not everyone is. That's just the way it is these days. A lot of people are just not going to ever challenge their pre-existing beliefs about anything. You know, a lot of people are just not going to change, and we just got to accept that. So social media, yeah. I'm going to take a break. I'm probably just not going to use Instagram much anymore. I haven't been using it this year really. I was using it whenever I use it. I just feel like I'm a worse person. So yeah, I'm going to try and put more effort into this YouTube channel, and we'll see where it goes. And thanks to everyone who engaged with the last video. Like, I was surprised to see comments and stuff from a new channel. So it does show that YouTube can be a good avenue to get these messages out. So I'll keep making videos and we'll see where it goes. So yeah, so that's been the main feature of this month. It's just taking this year, the last 6 months has just been really taking a break, not overdoing things, and just like, I'm very grateful to have this information in my mind, and I know how to put it into practice. And it's just, for me, I've just got to be patient. That's what my gut says. Like, that's what I feel I need to do. I've been so rush these last 7 years, and I've been trying so many different things, and none of them actually work that much. Most of them have done more damage. So now I have this program to follow. It's been really nice for me just to take a deep breath, let it do its work, and adapt with how I'm feeling and, you know, sort of responses I get from certain things. That's probably the nicest thing about like the whole Love Your Liver program and this whole approach, is that you're working with your body. You don't have to force things. Like Dr. Smith says, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So you don't need to rush. You shouldn't rush things, and you kind of do just need to trust in the process. Like, I've allowed several years for this to see if it works for me, see if it helps me, and so far it's helped me a lot. So the changes I've noticed, like last 6 months, just like an overall stability to everything. I can't say much about my ulcerative colitis because still working out some things there. I think that'll be the last thing to go, but I have no symptoms. Mentally, I just feel a lot better, like no anxiety and stuff. That's the other thing. So like I started my Instagram because I didn't feel comfortable making videos, you know, talking in front of a camera and all that. Stuff like that, just I don't even care about right now. It doesn't bother me. Coping with stress, that's something. Stress has always been a big part of my life, like at work, just personal life. I feel like my stress resilience, stress tolerance is a lot higher. I feel more comfortable around people. I've always been more introverted, but nowadays I still love my alone time, but I'm probably more, social, which is good. All that bile dumping I mentioned in the previous update, that sort of body aches, tiredness, fatigue, that I haven't really experienced that in 6 months. And bear in mind, I was experiencing it like every few weeks, and it was really debilitating. So that's been really good news. My energy levels have been really good, considering I'm on medications that generally make people feel pretty fatigued. So that's been good. I do feel it's easier to handle like dopamine addictions when you're on this sort of program, this diet. I think it's easier to kick bad habits, which is really, really important, especially for like young men right now. Yeah, on that actually, you know, like a lot of men are addicted to porn and stuff like that, which is really, I think it's one of the most damaging things out there. And something I mentioned on the last update was I noticed an increase in libido. I think that I think, that can be a good sign and a bad sign. Dr. Smith talks about this I've heard him talk about this a few times, where it's not good to have like this unhealthily crazy high libido, but also if like before I probably had very low because I was very sick. So it's about finding that balance, and then when you have that energy to be able to use it for good, not let it overtake your life. So I've been doing more, if you've heard of like semen retention, stuff like that, just trying to not engage in any of that behavior. That I think that has really helped with the energy levels. It is it can be a challenging practice, but I think, if you're like me and you're single and, you don't want to, I don't think anyone should be watching porn. I mean, that's terrible. But yeah, maybe I'll make a separate video about that in the future when I've sort of experimented with it more. But I think it is very, very important right now. And I think that on this program, it becomes easier to do those sort of practices. And to battle other dopamine addictions. But I think for men, that's a big one. And it's one that people don't speak about because it's like taboo, which is kind of crazy. All right. The other big update. So I had a hair mineral analysis done in 2022, which showed a very high copper. So it was 14.6, which I'm not sure what the measurement is. Normal is below 3.2. So yeah, 14.6, 3.2, very big difference there. So now it's gone down. I had one done a few months ago. It's gone down to 4.9. So it's almost at the normal range. So that's a threefold decrease. And just touching on like anxiety and things like that, I think the copper toxicity is a big player in that. I don't understand the people who say copper is so important. I mean, if you have a hair test and it's showing those sort of levels, like I don't know how you justify that copper would be beneficial. Like I was taking a copper supplement. This is so dumb. I can't believe this, to be honest. After I had that hair test, like a year later, I was taking molybdenum for sulfur metabolism, and I'd read somewhere that that can deplete copper. You got to make sure you take a copper supplement. So I was taking a copper supplement. I wasn't taking any zinc supplement, and I had this sky high level of copper. Like I don't understand why I did that. Anyway, yeah, that's what happens when you just like get indoctrinated, I guess. I didn't notice any benefit, and I think my health only declined taking that supplement. So clearly I did, and I probably still do have copper toxicity. I'll keep hair testing, and I'll keep working on it. I've also, cutting out chocolate and stuff like that was very beneficial for me. I was addicted to that. Now, if I have chocolate, I mean, I don't have it in the house, but it's not very addictive. Okay, so I also started having infrared saunas again, so I've been going every week. I mentioned before that when I would go into the sauna, once I added in oats, I would have like the bile dumping. But this time around, I haven't had any. I've actually felt really good after the sauna. Apart from last week, there was the full moon last week, which was quite intense, and I did actually have those bile dumping symptoms after my sauna. Very minor, but I noticed them. And I think that's just that combination of the space weather stuff, the sauna, probably some other factors, maybe some stress. All those agitators, I think once you stack them on too high, you can end up having quite a bad bile dump. So yeah, it's nice to actually be in control of that. Obviously you can't control the moon, but you can control, am I going to take a sauna today? Am I going to exercise? Am I going to add some supplement in? Knowing that the full moon sort of brings more energy out and increases bile production, probably it's a nice thing to sort of work around that, so you can pick those safe periods of time where you might want to add a supplement in, or adjust fiber and stuff, or take a sauna. So in terms of diet, yeah, I've really been sticking to it. I've had no desire to change it. If I eat out, I'll eat out, but I don't eat out very often, and I really enjoy the diet. Like I don't have any cravings for vitamin A foods. I used to go crazy for like raw milk and eggs, but had some raw milk a few months ago, and I don't know, it doesn't feel the same way. I don't know. I still enjoy butter, but I think it had an addictive quality before that, yeah, made it seem better than it actually was. Like, it's nice, I appreciate it, but eggs as well. Eggs used to be like my favorite food, and I really don't enjoy them much anymore. Like, I maybe have 2 to 4 a week. But yeah, everyone goes crazy about eggs. I really just don't understand it anymore. So a lot of people have reported this as well. So either we're just brainwashing ourselves, or there is actually something to this, that maybe the vitamin A is addictive, or other parts of the food. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it's probably time to get some more variety. So I think it's fair to, 1.5 years in, I could probably go less strict on the diet. I just can't think of many foods that I would want to eat, really. Like I said, eggs and dairy were like the big ones for me that I really enjoyed, but I just don't really have the desire. Sourdough bread, I might try doing sourdough bread, because I probably get a bit bored of eating rice. I don't currently have oats in, and looking back at my previous update and stuff, I wish I had cut them out sooner, like not just kept doing them. I felt like a dependency on them. It was like if I stopped them, I'd become constipated. It was really strange. So going back, yeah, I wish I had just not done the oats and stuck to bananas, apples, apple pectin, potatoes, that sort of thing. So yeah, those sort of fiber sources and like, I guess, lower moderate sort of fiber levels seem to work well for me. I might try beans, see how it goes. But yeah, right now this just seems to work. Yeah, so apart from that, proteins usual, like mostly beef, having lamb and chicken as well. It's pretty straightforward diet. Like, it's mostly proteins, rice, apples, bananas, potatoes. They're like the essential. They're like 90% of my diet. And honestly, I don't even feel like eating anything else. It's really weird. So many diets in the past have felt like really challenging to implement, but this has been really easy. It's like everything I get to eat is exactly what I want to eat. So it's really nice. It doesn't feel like I'm doing a diet. It just feels like I'm eating whatever I want. I'll only bring certain things into the house, but I'll never like crave much else. Maybe I'll crave some sweet things, but nothing compared to what I used to be like. If I do actually, like, I did make cookies a while ago, or a few weeks ago, and I do feel that sort of addictiveness, because it's so sweet. It's got fat. It's like fat and sugar, right? We're always gonna be drawn to fat and sugar because it's our like energy sources. But if they're not in the house, I'm not gonna like want to go and get them, And I can control myself a lot better than I used to. So that's diet. Supplements, yeah, I added in some fiber. I like it. I think I was feeling a bit constipated, so that helped just keeps you regular, especially if you're taking charcoal. Added liposomal glutathione. Haven't really noticed much. Might try niacin again. We'll see. I'm gonna try zeolite. Currently I'm on. I might do a separate video on supplements I'm taking, but I'm on half a teaspoon of charcoal twice a day. Seems like the right amount. I might try and increase it while increasing the some fiber. and we'll see how that goes. But right now I'm quite happy just keeping it steady. So with the sun, I was becoming quite sensitive to it last year, and I think that's one of the reasons why I ended up in a bad situation. I'm really interested to see, because summer's coming, we're in spring at the moment, what I'm gonna feel like. Am I gonna be more tolerant? Am I gonna burn easily, or is that gonna get better? Am I gonna have less bile dumping symptoms, like I mentioned, body aches, fatigue? Yeah, I'm curious about that. Right now I seem to not really be as sun sensitive, but it has been winter, so we'll just have to wait and see. I think one of the most interesting things about this whole low vitamin A thing is the tanning. So tanning, having a tan is, as an Australian, this is very part of our culture. I moved here from the UK when I was 8, and I was very pale, and I remember feeling a bit out of place. Everyone where I grew up had a tan. It was kind of something of a status symbol. I don't know. It's just very interesting to think that a tan is not necessarily healthy. That it's something to do with vitamin A oxidation. It's very, very interesting to me. I'll see. I've always been a bit pale as well because I was anemic with ulcerative colitis. So yeah, we'll see if I maintain a tan. Not that I have much of a tan, but yeah, we'll see. So that's about it. I really don't have many health complaints apart from being on medications. I'm playing the long game here. I'm just going to stay on medications while we're working out how my colitis is doing. I'll probably have more updates on that later. I don't really have any side effects from the medications, and I think that's part of this diet is partly responsible for that. So many people have horrible side effects on these meds. Infliximab is the med, and azathioprine, which hopefully I can get off soon. Both of them are nuking my immune system, but my immune system still feels fairly strong. And yeah, normally when I've been on azathioprine in the past, I've felt very fatigued and just felt dead, like a zombie. Right now I have more than enough energy. I don't drink caffeine really. It's really a profound difference to when I was on it before, and I'm on infliximab as well. Most people seem to feel pretty lethargic on these meds, so yeah, I really do think having that sort of multi-pronged approach, having the holistic side as well as conventional medicine when you need it, is probably the way to go for serious conditions like this. But long term, I don't really want to be on meds, so we'll see how that goes. Yeah, and I guess some of the other things I want to do, I want to put on more weight. I'm about 63 kilos currently. I've always been 55, which is very low weight for my height. My height's about 179 centimeters, around there. So that's 5'11". Yeah, so 63. I'd like to be a bit more and have more muscle mass, so that's just going to take time, I think. I'll probably start going to the gym. I feel ready for it. I do still feel like I'm dumping bile, because I notice my bowel movements are still a bit green, which I think is bile or something's coming out, and I've noticed that since starting the program, is green bowel movements. So I think this is just a marathon. This is a long process, but I'm feeling so much better every month. It's really, really good to be on a steady upward trajectory rather than just a complete mess, because most of the healing journey is that, and has been like that for me. But yeah, apart from that, everything is really good. I really don't have that many complaints. I did have some skin issues. I think it was because they put me on mesalamine, which gave me cystic acne before. So yeah, just coming down on that has probably helped resolve that. So yeah, that's about it. I'm going to try and make more videos. I think just to give a reflection of how I feel about this whole diet, I think it is the way to go for me. I think that I don't think I'm going to become vitamin A deficient, to put it lightly. Based on looking at Grant Jenneru and how he's going, I don't. I'm not. Let's just say I'm not scared of being without it, and I do eat small amounts of it anyway. But I think he's probably right. It's probably not essential. As for copper, I'm not sure. Maybe we need small amounts, but right now I'm just going to keep monitoring my hair test and get it to the normal range and then go from there. Should you do the low vitamin A diet? I don't know. Give it a try. I think if you do it, I think it's important to be cautious. I think this detox setback is really, really worth preparing for. I was not prepared. Well, I was somewhat prepared for it, but I pushed it too hard and I ended up in hospital. So that was a really horrible experience, and I don't know if this diet was fully responsible for it, because a similar thing happened the previous year when I was in a moldy home. If I'd ended up in hospital then, I probably would have ended up on Remicade, on infliximab as well. So once you're in the hospital, they're gonna, you kind of need to take the meds. It's just the way it is. But I'm glad they did put me on those meds. I'm glad they got me stabilized, because it was quite scary. And if I was to go back, I definitely would have made a few changes. So if you do undertake this diet and you do have especially if you have ulcerative colitis, because just think about it. So my theory of ulcerative colitis now, one of the major, mechanisms or causes is probably bile. It makes sense, because bile is going through your intestines all the time. If that bile is toxic and it can eat holes in your intestinal lining, it's gonna, that just makes sense to me as a cause of colitis. And from my experience, going through bile dumps, it just felt like that's what's going on here. Yes, the microbiome plays a role, but everything else, the stress, diet, all that stuff feeds into the bile flow and how toxic the bile is. So I just think that that's a really, really important factor in colitis, and I want to explore it more. Of all the things I've come across, explaining leaky gut and all these conditions, I think that bile is probably the most underrated aspect of that, or toxic bile, we should say. So if you have ulcerative colitis or a gut issue, I think you've got to be really, really careful doing this sort of approach, because once your liver starts to dump a lot of bile, and that's probably what's going on around that detox setback, which it tends to be about 6 months. So mine was bang on 6 months into the program. It seems like it's just a bile dump. It's just your body trying to get rid of lots of stuff that it's been holding for a long time. Your liver is so overburdened and it just dumps it. So I think that we need to find more tools to slow that down and to help deal with that. So charcoal's a good one. Vitamin C might be an option. I want to try that next time it happens. Yeah, I think if you do have a serious condition like me, I think you do need to go really, really carefully. That's all I'll say. But I'll keep the updates going, and that's my view at the moment. I'm going to stay on this for as long as I feel like. I'm going to go another 6 months, do another update. I've already committed to do this for 2 or 3 years. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'll keep you updated. I'll try and do some more videos, and see you in the next one.